Namaste, yogis. Welcome to the Happy Jack Yoga podcast. We're so excited to be with you. I'm Happy Jack, coming at you live from Boston, United States, Massachusetts. And there's a big storm coming our way. It's supposed to be a foot of snow, they they claim. And so if I disappear, thankfully I am here live with.
Fihanna. I am in Bracebridge, Ontario, Canada. Without any storms, we've had snow this morning, but I think it's all smooth sailing over here. Good to be together with all of you.
It really is. It is. And today's a special episode. We've got a dear friend of ours. We're going to be bringing on midway, very special guest, special interview, conversation that we get to have. But before we jump there, we got a few updates. And it's funny, Hannah, we talked after last episode. We gave ourselves permission to dive into the Yoga Sutras, which was really, interesting. And our experience a little bit was and I listened to it, and I think you did as well, to that episode. It maybe in a way lost the personal touch a little bit. And because we got into the theory and reading these texts and looking at Sanskrit. So we're still finding our voice. We're still figuring this thing out. And I must admit, I got a few updates. I got a bunch of updates, but I won't take too much time. But I got a bunch of exciting things to share with you, Hannah, and to share with the community.
I think
But
it's
first, I
like,
want to.
yeah, like we're always experimenting, and maybe our style will be that it's not always going to be the same. We're going to do different things on the podcast,
Mm,
and we'll try things out, and what works we'll keep, and what doesn't we might try to reorganize in one way or another. So every episode is going to be different and reveal itself as we make it.
I love that. In fact, I'm going off script right now because my last update I was going to share about was spontaneity. But instead of waiting for that last one, I'm going to bring it in right now. Can I ask you a question, Hannah? Do you love spontaneity?
I love spontaneity. Yeah.
Right. Traditionally, I have not. I
Do
know you
you
laugh
love
when I say
certainty, Happy
I love
Jack?
certainty. But I'll tell you what, like I had a beautiful experience just actually last night, this morning, because, I think I shared on a previous podcast episode that I spontaneously led the morning mantras at the ashram recently. Wasn't planned, wasn't invited. I just, it just blurted out and I did. And it was so much fun and it was beautiful and it was not perfect, but it was really fun. And and so last night, I get a WhatsApp message saying that I have officially been added to the schedule where I'm going to be leading this mantra. By the way, on Tuesday mornings, which is like the next morning, and it's a mantra, that I don't have memorized or anything. But what I was aware of is I was getting a little bit nervous. I mean, not debilitating, fear or anything, but I was just getting a little bit nervous because I was like, now all of a sudden last night I'm thinking about, oh, tomorrow morning I hope my voice is strong. I hope I remember the lyrics. I hope I start in the right key, because I know I've done that before. Like anytime where, Hannah, if we're together leading an in-person class, and I'll sing Lean on Me with everybody, and sometimes if I start the song way too high, well, then by the time I get to the high notes, yeah, I can't hit it. I can't do it. So anyways, all of these kind of thoughts were going through my head. And anyways, it went great this morning. It was no problem. It was fun. But I was just aware that when things are spontaneous and not planned, and it was just like, it came from an inspiration in the moment, was more enjoyable than when I, was planning it and practicing it and obsessing about, oh, I hope I don't get it wrong. So I'm gonna give you a thumbs up and say spontaneity has its merit.
Yeah, we can learn something new, right? When
Yeah.
when we're spontaneous.
Yeah,
Something new, a new experience comes, right?
totally. Yeah, we can do that as yoga teachers, really thinking about when different opportunities come our way. and just trying stuff and kind of going with the flow. Sounds very yogic.
Yeah, I mean,
So
what we've seen, like, it's good to have a plan. As teachers, we always
mm,
have a plan, and then that makes us feel grounded. And when you have a plan, you can deviate from it. You can be spontaneous and adapt to your plan to what is actually needed.
yes, exactly. So with that being said, we just went way off script. We did my last update first. Guess what? Doesn't really matter. But the next thing I wanted to share, I really love, that's what we love the most, right, Hun, is connecting with community. It was so nice connecting with Rita in Doha right before this. We got a really nice email just this week from one of our yogis named Charlotte, who we know well. And I just wanted to share these couple of sentences that Charlotte said. She was emailing Kristen. She'd finished a course, was requesting a certification, and then she said, P.S. I have finally started listening to the podcast, and they're great. I didn't know what I was missing out on, and now I'm binge listening to all the episodes. Just wanted to share another wonderful thing about Happy Jack Yoga. I just thought that was so nice to hear, because I know that feeling. Like when I discover, I mean, Hunda, you and I have discovered it certainly during the pandemic. Yeah, we find a series that we like that's really inspiring, and we binge watch it. Or you find a podcast and you binge watch it. So it's so fun to think that Charlotte out there and perhaps others are
Mhm.
binge watching 23 hours of Happy Jack Yoga podcasts until they catch up.
Yeah, that's lovely. And it's an
Yeah.
honor to have Charlotte and everyone be in this inquiry, in this co-creation, that everything that we do is a co-creation. We do it together with
Yeah.
our community. And so it's
Yeah.
really fun.
So I love that. It absolutely is. And so if anybody would want to join us live here in Zoom, send us an email, info@happyjackyoga.com. We'll get you the Zoom codes. Or if even if you're just listening, if you don't want to join us live, send us an email. That was just really nice to get that message from Charlotte, to know, to put a name and a face to like who's one of the people downloading the podcasts. So send us an email, let us know you're listening. And I'm gonna put it out there, just shamelessly, because last time we said, hey, if you'd be willing, if you haven't already, give us a review on Spotify or Apple. When we did that last week, we got one more. We got one more.
Yay!
We went from 16 to 17 5-star
Woo!
reviews. So you just never know. And I hope that each of you yogis and yoga teachers will also, not be afraid to ask for a testimonial from your students, not be afraid to ask, because this is you as teachers are making a positive impact, and I'm sure that your students would love to share that with you.
Yeah, and it's not for us. It's not like we're asking for compliments for us or
Mm-mm.
an endorsement. It's helpful for somebody else who is evaluating, like, should I listen to this? Is there maybe some wisdom or something inspirational that I could get from this podcast or this training, right? So that's why we're asking for you guys to you know engage and leave a review if you feel like it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I love it. So good. We planted that seed. All
Yeah.
right, Hannah, I got another question for you. Here's a trick. Well, I don't know if it's a trick question.
Let's see.
What's more important, the journey or the destination?
The journey.
Yeah, probably, we'd all agree with that. But then I heard this
Are you
said
gonna
by a teacher.
dismantle it now?
No, it's simple. Teacher of ours in India, asked the same question. What's more important, the journey or the destination? And the answer was the company.
Yay! I love that
The,
one too.
the company that
100%.
we have, the company that we keep
So
on the
can we
journey.
reframe the question and say, what's most important, the journey, the company, or the destination?
Well, no, now you know the answer. The company.
I love
No,
it.
yeah. So that was good. And another, I don't, this is just a random, I'm throwing random nugget quotes out, but I heard a Carl Jung quote in class, and it said, one who looks outwards sees a dream. One who looks inwards awakens. And I was like, ooh,
Awakes.
awakens,
Yeah. Who looks
right? So
inwards awakens.
right? We look out and it's good, you know, we do it's we see that as good, right? We get a vision, we have a dream, we're looking out, and that's like good in the material world. But I love that idea of one who looks inwards awakens, i.e., like the Buddha.
I love that. And what does it feel like to you to look inwards? And when do you look inwards? When in your own life?
Well, I the first thing I can say is it's not easy. It's not, and it's not, it doesn't happen by default. It's so easy to look outwards. If I'm walking around chanting mantra meditation, well, I walk up and down Newbury Street in Boston, which is like it's like a shopping district. It just
It's like
happens to be where
Gucci,
I live.
Prada, Gucci Street.
Yeah. It's silly, right? I'm like walking along chanting, you know, mantras and looking at Rolex and Giorgio Armani and all this. Um, but I know the point being though, it's easy to kind of get distracted by all the external stuff. But anytime that I do, or you know, comparing that to when I sit in the ashram and I sit with the other yogis on the floor, and all we're doing is sitting there with our eyes closed, chanting the mantra, and you feel the vibrations of everybody chanting together. It's a much more, you know, peaceful, beautiful, heartfelt, God-felt experience than when I'm walking around. But the reality is I do some walking meditation because it feels good to physically move and get fresh air and get sunshine and not sit. But
Yeah,
there's something to be said for turning inward for sure.
I love that. And I think that's what we learn on the yoga mat. A lot of us are learning how to be mindful when we do
Mm.
yoga.
That's it. That's it. That's the whole point, right? When we're doing the asana, exactly, not thinking about what we have to do next, but actually practicing being present.
Yeah, I love
Now I
that.
must say as well, something I realized we haven't talked about therapy for a while. My therapist has been in India for like a month, a full month now. I'm like waiting for her to come back. I'm falling apart here.
No,
I
you're
need
not.
some help. But it was interesting. Last on Friday, we had a special workshop at class there at the Harvard Divinity School, and this Dean Monica, she had said she was talking about, you know, therapy, and on one of her slides she had made this comment on it, and I want to know if it's true. You know, you're studying this now, so I want to know if you agree with this. But apparently there are literally books about people falling in love with their therapists. Now, I thought that was interesting. I don't think that's the case with, I'm sure it's not the case with you and I. In my case, we know my therapist and we know her husband. Beautiful, beautiful couple. In your case, you've been working together with that lady for 17 years. But I wanted to ask you, Hannah, why do you think, I mean, you know, I could take a good guess, but
Yeah,
why do you think that is that many people fall in love with their therapists?
I think if you think about it, like there's many factors probably, but one being that when you're in a therapy session, all of the energy, all of the focus is going to be on you. When we fall in love with someone, I think we fall in love with how they see us. And that makes us feel really good. And not that our therapist would make us feel like a lover, but it could be that the attention and then there's the factor that's called projection, right? When we project um, um, things onto the therapist because they are always wise, they're always there, they're always available, they're always um, you know, they always have some really insightful things to share. That could be one reason, right? And because we feel less lonely when we're being seen so intimately by someone. But I think that
Mm.
maybe there's there's a lot, I'm sure there's a lot more to it, but that could be kind of like one of the things that would make one feel more than any other relationship.
Yeah, that's really good. I really like that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of good things you said. And I mean, the one that I'll kind of hone in on is, you know, people like to feel appreciated and seen and heard and understood. And that's basically the role of the therapist, right? Is being present and holding that space. And you know, coming back to us as yoga teachers, this is something we can do not for the intention of having anybody fall in love with us, of course, but something that we can do with our students is really being present and really listening and really holding that space, because that is something that humans are seeking and craving, and a lot of us don't have that in our closest, most intimate relationships sometimes, right? It's like that's often why the person will reach out to a therapist or some kind of mentor like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the unconditional nature of the attention from the therapist or a coach or
Mm.
um, could, you know, be like that. I've never had that experience, so I don't know.
Cool. That's, I love it. I just got to say, we've gotten like, I don't keep up with them. We've got like 20 chat messages so far, which is, I feel like there's like good energy. There's like good conversations happening. And I think Danica might be sharing some nuggets in there maybe. But it's fun. It's fun having people engage, even Yada while she's knitting or crocheting. People are just like right in and engaged. Couple more things. Hanna, our dear friend Mars, is turning 82 years young this week. So I want to send him, I'm not sure if he'll catch this episode, but I want to send him so much love and high vibes. For those who are part of the community, if you've done the Bhagavad Gita course or the yoga philosophy and spirituality course, you get to connect with this beautiful soul that's just like so wise.
Talk about
And
falling in love. I think all of our community is in love with Mars. He's such
yeah.
a bundle of oozing love into the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be on Zoom with him next week. So I'll pass along all of the love to him when he's back. But right now he's with family celebrating his 82nd birthday. Um, so I had to just do a quick shout out there. Another quick little one. Just it's important to recognize progress. I noticed we again last week we had this little workshop. It's called a meaning making workshop. And we get together every other week with, a small group of students and kind of reflect theologically, reflect on school, reflect on our,
But
our
this is
field
at Harvard
education.
Divinity School, not in Happy Jack Yoga.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is through the Harvard Divinity School, tied in with my field education at the ashram. And when we opened up, so we're sitting there, it's like me, a couple other students, and the facilitator. And the facilitator said, okay, like, let's go around, everybody just have a check-in. How are you doing? And he said, oh, Jack, do you want to go first? Sure. So I went and I did like a 2-minute spiel, and I really opened my heart. Like I feel like I was really vulnerable and shared some things I was insecure about, and just like really, I feel like I was really kind of bared myself, and then and then the first thing the facilitator said was, I didn't mean for you to share that. I just wanted to kind of check in with like how are you today kind of thing or something. And he didn't mean any offense by it or anything in it, but I guess I just noticed that in the past, if I had like shared like openly like that, or and then kind of been cut off or shut down or not acknowledged is a little bit how it felt. I think I would have shut down or fleed, like taken off. Now that would have been my old self. But I just noticed, the reaction still came up, the awareness was there, but like still to just stay and to breathe and to, one of the qualities of bhakti yoga is humility and tolerance. Wanting to be as humble as a blade of grass and as tolerant as a tree. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to make a deal out of this. He didn't mean that. He didn't try to hurt my feelings. I know that. And, so whatever, maybe he kind of a little bit not so sensitive, whatever the case, I'm not going to take any offense and just re-engaged with the conversation. And so I guess I just want to point that out because I think that's a practice that we can all have, right, in our lives when things don't go as planned or a person doesn't react the way that we think they should. Um, not to give myself a pat on the back, but just to think about these are the things that we can practice in every day and notice the progress. Even though, I'm not there yet because the internal reaction was there. I just held back.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. It's vulnerable. And then also, like, it's such a good, like, I'm sure all of us have felt that way sometimes when maybe the facilitator or the person we are, whatever we engage in, and they might not be so skillful at, um, interpersonal communication, maybe in that case. It would not have taken a lot to say, hey, thanks for sharing, Jack. That was, very meaningful. And in this exercise, now I want da 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 da. Like, it wouldn't be so hard to acknowledge that and make, connection with you and then move on. And
Yeah.
and as human beings, we have the opportunity to offer that kind of presence to everyone, whether we're yoga teachers or not, or people in our lives. So I think it's something that life happens so fast that most of us wouldn't have paid attention, maybe, or we forget about it, or we don't want to bring it up on a podcast, But I do think it's a beautiful reminder.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and we can just be aware of these different circumstances and when these internal reactions show up. Because I was sharing on our Sunday satsang for those in the community. Every Sunday morning, we come together on a community sharing circle. And I hadn't planned to, but I shared with them, on Saturday, I almost had like you know, a a reaction. So it was like a perfect storm. Right. So I was in pain. I should say I'm getting better. Like my hip flexor, I'm feeling really good. It's almost healed. But on this particular Saturday, a few days ago, it was like really painful. I wasn't able to sleep very well. So I only got, a limited amount of sleep. Um, I had a little bit of a misunderstanding with my mom. No conflict, but just a misunderstanding. So it was this little bit of perfect storm and then one of the people who I live with, kind of did something not bad in any way, but just like kind of annoyed me. And I noticed with all of these things going on, the physical pain, the lack of sleep, the disconnection, the heart disconnection with my mom, and then this little silly thing. I wanted to drop an F bomb, I mean, not start fighting or something like that, but I want this outburst wanted to come out is like the 16-year-old version of myself was like there ready to be like, who do you think, what do you think, da da da. Um, and of course I didn't do that. And I, took some breaths and everything was good and everything is totally good. But I guess I'm just aware that just under the surface, just it's like we think that we've navigated things. And even if, when life is good, when we're healthy and strong and we're doing well financially and we're doing well physically, all of these things, it's like easier to handle. But then all of a sudden, when we have like a deficit in any of these areas, at least for myself, I noticed that those old undesirable tendencies, they're under the surface and we got to be mindful of those, it seems.
Yeah, and also I think that it's, again, really humble of you to recognize and acknowledge and share about that. And I think like something to also bring to therapy, maybe, because what I don't love about some of the spiritual world is like only this is okay or only this is acceptable. And not that doesn't mean that we should rage around, but like it's part of the human experience to feel anger, and it comes up sometimes, and you're recognizing when it does come up. And then we know that it's energy that is, moving something from within, and to unload that energy in healthy ways is
Mhm.
maybe what we want to work towards versus repressing it or pretend that it's not part of the human experience. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that. Of
Yeah, no, that's a really good perspective. And at the same time, I am really happy that I didn't, outburst.
course.
Of course, yeah. Um,
And I'm
because
not
then
suggesting you
afterwards,
should, but
yeah.
it's, when you said like when you're maybe in pain and like not so thriving, it's easy that anger shows up when one more thing kind of pokes at us, and then we could, burst.
Mhm.
And it doesn't feel good to burst. It doesn't feel good to be angry. I'm not saying it's a great thing. I'm just saying it's a thing. And and we can allow ourselves to have, like you're acknowledging it, and and seeing how you're moving along with that energy, what to do with it. Sometimes anger is great because it gets us in motion versus being stuck, things like that. And
Mhm.
I'm not saying that was the case for you, but I just appreciate that you share about also difficult feelings as someone who lives in an ashram and is very deep into spiritual practice and doesn't want to rage in the world, and still this is part of your practice. That's beautiful and powerful that you would share that.
Yeah. Well, thank
Even
you.
though, yeah, even though it doesn't happen often, but even more
Yeah.
so, it's nice that you are
That's
in
well,
your.
that's what I love. That's what I love about this community. And it's not, I'm not special in any way, but I love that, the yogis here, this is how they show up and they share and it like they so courageously and so vulnerably. I'm reading it in the community forum. I see Lisa DeSal, Lisa's, we're trying not to say last names. Lisa's with us here. I was reading her post in the community forum and it's just, I love how people open up and share. And it's I guess it gives us permission as well, Hannah, to do the same.
Yeah.
And so one last thing, it ties into this, but it's like everything is connected. Coming back to a couple episodes ago when we talked about the great release, um, I'll just quickly say, like, if
We're talking
whether
about
we're
bowel
doing,
movements now, everyone.
yeah, whether we're doing a colonic or
From
whatever it
anger to
happens to
bowel
be,
movements.
whatever it
Yeah.
happens to be, it's all connected. Like if there's something we're hanging on to. But no, the point being is that I feel that my injury started getting way better as soon as so this weekend, Hannah, like Saturday was a really tough day I shared. Then Saturday night, I talked to my mom for like an hour and I walked around and for over an hour and just had a really nice heart to heart conversation. And I feel like that was really needed and that was really beautiful. And then on Sunday, you and I, right? You and I spent over an hour and a half, on a call, kind of working through some things and thankfully ending in such a beautiful space and feeling so inspired about what we get to do. And I feel like, you know, rekindling, strengthening the relationship.
Now you're um,
Oh, I froze. Yeah, to
strengthening the relationship, you said.
strengthening the relationship with two of the most important people in my life. I feel like that has helped, just shift things with my injury and it just like started healing. And so, it's not just the sleep or the nutrition or the rest. All those are important. But I think, if we're like energetically or heartfelt, if our heart is hurting, that's going to impact physical healing as well. It's like, we've all
Yes,
heard
and
this. We
how
know
we,
this as yogis, but I experienced it.
yeah, it kind of circles back to the company.
Yeah.
What's more
Yeah.
important in life is the company or the journey or the destination, the people in our lives, because it impacts our heart and how much we feel at home in our lives, I think, and at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. So anyways, it's all good. I see lots of nuggets getting shared in the chat, which is beautiful. But we're gonna wrap up these openings. I'm really happy we did that. I love these little openings, and please send us a message. Let us know if you think it's way off topic, but I think it's nice to share and connect and to hear from you. But we got to shift to the main topic because we got a very special guest. I'm going to bring our special guest on spotlight. If you're here live with us, please send some love, high vibes to Brandon Morgan, residing, or, representing Xenia, Ohio. Might be in a different town right now, but that's the home stomping grounds. Brandon, we love to have you here with us, and we're so excited to connect with you. And welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Namaste. Good to see you.
So great to see you. For those who can see us, you're gonna be before you came in. Hanna's like, I didn't get the memo. Everybody else shaved their head, but Hanna's like, I didn't know I had to do that.
Next week, everyone.
Nice.
Yeah,
I dare you.
makes life easier.
No, no. I think Wendy's like, no, don't do it. Yeah, everybody's no, of course not. Um, we're so excited for this conversation. A couple of things I want to say about Brandon, something I've been so impressed with. I feel like it's probably definitely less than a year that you've been here, a part of the community, and yet you've been just so committed and so all in. Like you take a course, you do it so fully, so thoroughly, you immediately put it into action, put it into practice. You're sharing videos and content on social media. And I just was so impressed with that. You have this hunger to learn and to grow. And, even that, maybe we'll get into it at some point of the podcast, but you're even going to be coming to Boston to move into the yoga ashram where I am to give yourself a little mini immersion experience of Bhakti yoga, which is super cool. But I just love that you're all in. But the other cool thing, you have this expertise. You clearly, with regards to technology and Canva and artificial intelligence and all this stuff that frankly I'm scared of, and I have no idea. I've been an ostrich with my head stuck down in the sand, which is probably silly. But you have this expertise, and we're just happy to be here to learn from you. So anyway, I'll just briefly say next week at Happy Jack Yoga University, February 19 to 23, we've got a very special 25-hour course that Brandon is going to be has created, and we're going to be helping to facilitate the live calls. And we're so excited for that. But let's get to know Brandon here first. So just so we get a sense, Brandon, will you tell us just a little bit about your story? For me, it's so inspiring, but give us a little taste of your story and what brought you here to Happy Jack Yoga.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to help people. That's been my like number one kind of focus since I was younger. And it started out with me looking for, another person in a relationship, trying to fill that void. And then from there, it went into the military. And so I was trying my best to be the knight in shining armor, however I can possible. And when I was in Afghanistan, I just really felt in my heart, this isn't how I'm meant to serve the people, the community. And who would have known I'm so much more closer to that, community than I've ever thought. As I started to learn and more things came together. And so I got out of the military and I was kind of lost for a while. I turned to drugs and alcohol and all that, and it kind of led into like a downfall in my life. And then as I started to turn myself around, and I've been sober since 2017, I basically ended up finding, yeah, it's a good celebration because yeah, it's one of the best
Cheers.
choices I ever made.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
I'm cheering my green juice. Absolutely. No,
Yeah,
and no pressure, because there's lots of yogis that can enjoy a drink. But Brandon, guys like us and some others, it's the right decision. So I'm really proud of you, man. That's 7 years. Can you believe that? 2017 to
yeah,
2024. Amazing.
yep, exactly. And then basically like I tried to figure out what my next path was going to be. And so for a while I thought it was just graphic design. So I've been doing graphic design since 2013. And that's where I have these design skills that I'm going to be teaching everybody. And so I also started doing social media advertisement with Rocket Launch Media. And so I've actually worked with a digital marketing company and was doing this for a while, but I still wasn't feeling fulfilled. I'm like, I still feel like there's more to life for me as a person than this. And then I started getting into studying, the mindset, Bob Proctor, that kind of stuff. And he teaches you about, creating your own reality, that kind of stuff. And so I did a Silva method practice the night before. What happened was Wendy the next morning she ended up saying that she, wanted three people to go to join her and, finding Happy Jack Yoga and seeing if they want to be a yoga teacher. And that was an exact answer to my question because literally I meditated on it the night before because I just kind of felt lost a little bit. I'm like, what is my purpose? What is, I didn't even know that purpose is dharma, that's my life purpose. And so I really put that out there to the universe and I didn't have an exact answer that night. But the next morning I woke up, I seen Wendy's post and I instantly I knew it. Like I made a quick decision. I instantly messaged her, and ever since then, that's been my focus. And at first I'm like, yoga, it's, it's kind of just movement, right? And then my business that I've been working on is called Univisions. And because uni representing, uniting people, yoking, just like bringing people together. And then when I started to really look into what yoga truly is and finding out that that's exactly what it stands for, yoga is uniting together, bringing yogis together. And so that's when I changed my name from, I still do Univisions, but I changed it to Uni Yoga because it's all about uniting yogis. And so ever since I've joined this community, and I'm very grateful for, Wendy being that soul that ended up connecting me to my purpose, to my dharma. And then, your guys's system that you have in place where it's like a perfect community. Like I highly suggest, I'm going to be suggesting this to all the yoga teachers I meet throughout my journey, that anybody that's want to be a yoga teacher, because the community, the environment is key in growth. I truly do know that because that's what Bob Proctor taught too. His environment is key. So if you want to be a yoga teacher, you need to be around other yoga teachers. And so with this community, us being able to connect every single week, multiple times, it'll keep you, if your goal is to be a yoga teacher, it'll keep you on that mindset, on that path of being a yoga teacher. And so that's pretty much my story up until now.
Wow. That's awesome. I love it. Well, thank you for the kind words, and you contribute so much to this experience and to the community. Like really, you're here so consistently, and we love that. And I love that Wendy's here with us live. In fact, just for fun, let's bring Wendy on just for a moment. Well, just what was it? What was your experience, Wendy? What did you see in Brandon? How did that? What are your afterthoughts? Just like in a short little response, what is on your heart seeing this guy and his vision?
It's amazing. I remember the first time I met Brandon when he came into the Mystic. He was all about breath work and wanting to lead classes even then. And he just was so hungry. Came to a couple of our events. And then when I made the post, which I have that same fever about Happy Jack or something about the community. And I feel like I'm doing a disservice if I'm not sharing it. So I had, shared, we were getting ready to have it, and he latched on, and it's just unbelievable, like where he's come, like truly. And, to know so much of his journey, even more of his story, it's just stinking unbelievable. And I'm very excited for him. I'm very proud.
Oh, I love that. Well, we're so grateful for you, Wendy, for connecting it. Brandon is actually just one of many beautiful souls from the Xenia, Ohio area that you've inspired to come and join and to step into the hero's journey. Obviously, we'd love to keep chatting with Wendy, but let's send so much love, high vibes to Wendy, also Xenia, Ohio. Thank you for hopping on spontaneously. Um, Brandon, I love that. I love you share that. And we've heard more of your story, and there's actually a lot more to it. Like it's pretty extraordinary what you've been through in Afghanistan, in the war with your addictions, all of that. And now you are in this place of like creating your dream life and just going for it. What would you say has been, how has being a part of this, connecting with yogis like Wendy, like others who are here live with us, being a part of this community, how has it impacted you? And I guess what is it as you look forward, kind of what is your vision? What is the inspiration that comes from connecting with yogis like this?
It's definitely it's opened my mind a lot to the fact that there's other like-minded individuals out there, because in modern day society, you're not going to find like on a regular a lot of people that are so in their heart center, that are so heart centered and in a state of love. And I mean, because every time we come into these calls, you feel like you're connected to other souls that are on that same path. They're not focused on the news or what's, all the crap that's going on in the world, because that's always been happening in the world. I mean, that's just part, you can either focus on that, or else you can focus on the love and the good and try to bring people to the light. And I feel like that every time that I have gotten on a call, there hasn't been one call where I haven't gained some information, or I haven't, really felt like I truly am more connected after being on that call that we've had. And so for me, that's the main thing that I would say is really feeling like more grounded and more connected. Like if you go, like sometimes I might miss one or two classes, like or not classes, but calls like I have over the past couple of weeks. But that's just because me personally, I've been going through a shift, which a lot of you guys know. You know, I got kicked out of a house for actually wanting to join the ashram to go to further my yoga experience and stuff. And so for me, that kind of made it to where I had to take some time off to be able to adjust my schedule. And I really did miss being on the calls, all the time, just because it's kind of like a conditioning a little bit. Like even though I study, like literally the main book I've been studying and reading right now is The Science of Self-Realization. And this book in itself has so much knowledge and tips in it, but I still feel like that these calls are more valuable than just reading a book because you're connecting with other souls around the world.
Yeah, it's so true. There's so many great things you said. And I see it, obviously I get to be a part of this community at Happy Jack Yoga with all of you, but I'm also like connected to we have a WhatsApp chat channel for all the students at Harvard Divinity School. And, I'm in a WhatsApp channel with the yogis at the ashram. And it's really something special that we all have created here together because like you said, Brandon, we're not like, there's a lot of challenges happening in the world right now. And there's a time and a place for social justice work and doing that kind of thing, but that's not what we're here to do, right? I think we've all done a really good job of coming in here together and kind of turning the reflection on ourselves. Like how can I be better? Who do I want to become? And really putting the focus there. I guess I'm just really pleased that we never get caught up in, the politics or the pandemic or, all of these kind of things that are the wars. And it doesn't mean we become ostriches and pretend it doesn't exist, but this is a really sacred, safe space that we can just really come to work on ourselves. And so we appreciate you and how you show up. But I want to save some time here because so we've got this epic course coming up next week. And we don't have to teach any content or anything like that, but would you just give us a sense like why are some of these technologies like AI, chat GPT, social media, why do you think that they're important for yoga teachers?
I think that they're vitally important because for us as yoga teachers, we need to create effective social media ads. And we don't want to spend all of our time behind the keyboard typing away, spending like an hour to an hour and a half just trying to think of what we're going to write as a description or like what coming up with a theme for our event that we may be having. Maybe that, it is good to do it all off the top of your head too, but if you think about it, it's almost like kind of optimizing your life a little bit. Because I use it pretty much every single day. Like, I mean, I literally created a joke earlier because you said you wanted to bring a little fun to it. So in a little bit, I want to share a joke I made from ChatGPT just to show that, we can use ChatGPT for so many different things. Like I created an epic rap song just and this is actually in the recording that you guys are going to get to hear. And it's funny. It's about a successful traveling yogi that earns tons of money enjoying living the life of a yoga teacher. And it turned out to be super amazing. And it took less than 30 seconds and it created this whole entire thing. And then, so you can use it almost like as creating templates. And that's just for music. I mean, you can use it to create your blog post if you're for being a yoga teacher, instead of having to hire somebody on Fiverr and pay money, you can use ChatGPT, you can type in whatever you need to create, and then you can copy it, paste it, and then you go in there and you edit it just as if it's a template. And with Canva, I'm going to be teaching how to actually create your own logo. I'm going to be teaching how, because having an effective logo and knowing the differences between all the different logo types is very important. And so I actually break down all the different styles of logos, like, how there's like the letter logo, there's the branding, there's quite a bit of different tips and tools that you're going to learn. And then also because if you want to make a flyer for your event, a lot of people don't know how to create their own flyer. And so maybe they hire that out too. And that can be anywhere from 10 to $100 off of Fiverr. And instead you can create your own with Canva, and you can even reuse them. And that's just a way to be more effective. And also you can use CapCut, which I'm going to be teaching as well. And CapCut it's free, but there's also a paid version, which I explain all these in details in the course. But I'm going to be teaching how to basically create your own yoga videos or breathwork videos, whatever videos you feel like creating. All the videos that you guys are going to watch in this course, I use CapCut to edit. I use Canva to create the slides that I'm going to be presenting. I use ChatGPT to help me come up with a lot of the slides content with my own. So like it's almost like having AI being your partner. So it's not like AI is completely controlling all of your work. You use it as a tool, not as a crutch. Because if you use it as a crutch and you basically just copy everything and paste it, then you're not really yourself. But if you copy it, you paste it, then you go through and you edit it and you add in your own tweaks, you add in your, you add in your human side to it, then it can really help you to be more effective in your day-to-day life. So you're not spending hours, creating, because like to create the content for a course, it would take, I guarantee, like 10 times more time than what I'm even spending on the course right now. And which it does, it takes a lot of time to create a course. But with ChatGPT and these tools that I'm going to be teaching, even image generation, I'm teaching a little bit of image generation, which is with an app called Lexica. So that way that maybe if you want an original photo of somebody meditating on the beach for an advertisement, instead of searching on Google, you can just create your own. And so there's a lot of good, valuable tools and assets that after this course, yoga teachers will be able to utilize. And I truly do believe that this will help them take their business level from here to way up here and scale it.
Wow, that's awesome. There's so much. Like clearly, this is something you're passionate about, something you're very knowledgeable about. And as you started sharing all that, I think for myself, and I see that there's so many areas, there's so many things that I could be doing, should be doing, ought to be doing, that we're just not even doing it because we don't know how. And so I love that you're bringing in these technologies to make some of these tasks easy, whether that's copywriting, whether it's creating graphics or images. Because there's the famous quote from Wayne Gretzky, maybe Michael Jordan, but I'm going to go with Wayne Gretzky because he's Canadian. But the quote that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And there's so many things, I know there's so many things that I miss out on. We miss out on Happy Jack Yoga because we're just not doing it versus we really see you, Brandon, of just like going for it and creating content and putting it out there. And something I want to say, you have a cool kind of rock star-ish brand. And for those who are, maybe see the course or see your work, you don't have to think of like, oh, well, I would have a different vibe or a different brand. Well, that's totally okay, right? Because you're providing the technology. It doesn't have to look the same as yours per se, but using these tools to express ourselves, I think is super cool. So yeah, we're super excited for this.
Yeah, yeah, me too. And I got a little joke for you guys. So what did the yogi say when the class got too crowded?
I don't know, I'd be celebrating. I love crowded classes. What did the yogi say?
Let's all take a step back and find some inner peace. That
That's
was created
funny.
with ChatGPT too. So
Nice. I love it. That's cool. You're
mhm.
just right into this. And what we really appreciate, Brandon, is that you're not afraid of it. Like I'm just looking at some of the chats here. Sue's like, AI scares the crap out of me. And then Danica's like, hey Sue, let's do the course together. Of course, I love the support. But it's this is the reality, right? We got yogis, I mean, Sue, she's more like me and Hanna's generation, right? You're a little bit younger. So we got people of all different ages. And yeah, it's nice that we can come here and share our strengths and share our interests. And this is clearly one that you have. Hanna says, or is it Lisa says, I'm old. No, you're not. No, you're not, Lisa. Um,
Yeah, well, I
yeah.
mean, even my stepdad, he's older. He's like in his 50s, and he just started using ChatGPT himself every day. And he's very grateful that he started to. I'm telling you, even though it may seem a little scary, it's either adapt or else get left behind. That's one of the main quotes they've been saying a lot about
Mm,
AI on YouTube, is that you can either adapt or else you and your business are going to just be in the old way, because the truth of the matter is that people are starting to learn this, and because of that, a lot more people are being optimized. So you might as well jump on the bandwagon now and get it early. And that's just something, the theme that I've seen on YouTube. And so I promise you, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's actually just a tool. Like, I'm a designer, and I hear it all the time. People saying it's going to take my job. It's going to take my job. It's not going to take your job. It's going to help you actually, but to get more jobs. Because I'm telling you, I get more work now because I can optimize my workflow.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Time is so precious, right? We think money is important, but time, yeah, ask any billionaire and they'll tell you like they've got way more than enough money they'll ever need, but time is the precious. And I see Lisa saying, I've wasted hours trying to create flyers. Can't wait to learn this. Yeah, this is what it's all about. So we're super excited. And I just want to close with, because you just briefly mentioned in there, so courageously, Brandon, and so openly, because that's kind of how we are in this community. But you mentioned that you're actually not in your normal environment right now. You had said that you've been kicked out of where you had
Mhm.
been living there with your dad, and we've obviously, you and I have been in touch a few times since then, and and I know that you're working through that with your father. But I really acknowledge you for seeking your truth, and I know you certainly mean to do no harm or disrespect to parents or anybody else. But I really acknowledge you for just being curious and seeking your truth, and going in a path that feels right, and taking a risk, and trying something new. And you're going to move over to here to Boston for a month or two, and at the same time, you have your dharma to your parents, and you're going to respect that, and heal that and mend that. And I guess it's important for me, because I as well, I think about my relationship with my parents. But it's just this is why we have you lead the course. Not just, we wouldn't just bring anybody with the technology experience, because there's lots of people out there we could find probably that knows the technology, but you really fit so well with the community because of who you are and how you care and how you want to serve. And so we're excited. I know Hanna's been working closely with you to create the course. We're both going to be there on the live calls next week, to facilitate the sharing. But yeah, if you were to, maybe with the yogis here, because we can't teach anything per se, but Brandon, if you were to leave everybody live with us or listening to the recording with one tip, and it doesn't have to be technology related, but if just kind of one thing that you'd leave us with as we go on our yoga journey, our spiritual journey, as we find our path, we find our voice, what would you offer to all the yogis?
My number one favorite quote, which is to be here now, to be in the moment. And so, because if you're in a state of fear of AI, or if that's being afraid of the future, and if you're in a state of anxiety or fear of the past, then you're not able to be truly in your heart center and love. And so I would just say, be as much open-minded and being in the now, and just realizing that everything happens for your good,
Mm, I
even
love
when you're
it.
going through the struggles. Because like you just said, I was going through a little bit, but I've remained in the most positive mindset. And honestly, I've been getting blessed more and more every single day. And it's because I know that everything works for my good. And because of that, the little things that normally would get me down, I see it as it's just a stepping stone to my greatest version.
Nice. Nice mindset. That's what it's about. I love the quote, be here now. All three of those words are so important. Be, not do, not do, but be. We're human beings here, right here. And then now, like that's classic Ram Dass book text. My friend, thank you for taking the time to join us on the podcast. We really appreciate you. Let's send so much love and high vibes to representative of Xenia, Ohio, Brandon Morgan in the house. And I must say, Wendy, I'm not sure if you caught in the chat, but Lisa, a little while ago, I don't know, I can't, there's so many chats. But yeah, she says, I'm from Dayton, actually heading that way today. I don't know if you mean towards Xenia, but anyways, we got Ohioans in the community. I would say to you, Lisa, connect with Wendy. She's got an incredible community mystic in Xenia, and this is what it's all about. So with that, Hanna, I guess a few last logistics. We didn't get to do a hot seat, but I think that was a really special guest interview we got to have with Brandon. So we'll got a hot seat next week. But for those who want to join us for the course with Brandon, February 19 through 23rd, send us an email, info@happyjackyoga.com. And even if those dates don't work, you can go self-study. Like join, get in, go at your own pace. You get lifetime access to the course if you get the course only. And then you've got these tools at your fingertips as yoga teachers. So send us an email. We got live yoga Fridays with Hanna. We got podcast live Tuesdays, any of these things. And one last time, shamelessly, we'll say, in case we can get one more review, if you haven't already, leave us a review on Spotify or Apple. Like Hanna said, it's not for us. It's not like it's not to compliment us, but to help others find the conversation that might be able to benefit from this. With that, Hanna, would you give us one last word of wisdom? What is on your heart?
I'm just gonna say it was a really beautiful conversation with Brandon and you, Jack, and all of us might have a little bit of resistance in the new ways of the world. And it feels like you guys created a very heart-centered AI conversation. And I hope it will, help us use that tool in the ways that then helps others, you know. So that's beautiful. Thank you for that.
Love it. That's it. That's the intention. Well, thank you so much, Hanna. It's been fun. I can't wait till next week already. But of course, we'll see you lots before then. Our friends.
Namaste, friends. Happy Jack
It's,
cut out. There you
oh,
are.
I cut
There we
out.
go.
Sorry, but I was just going to say for those who are live with us, if you want to hang on for a couple extra minutes, we'll debrief with you. And if you're listening, make it an amazing rest of the day. Namaste.
Namaste.